Excuse me, it cost how much to play this format? Make sure you guys smash the like and crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more content. So I was looking through the YCS Anaheim deck list because, you know, on YGR Pro Deck, they have this little price tag next to the decks, and I saw something that you're actually not going to believe. It's actually more expensive to play this current format with the full power Ryzel Fiendsmith deck that translates over here than it was last format. Last format was scraping by at almost $1,000. All right, if you were playing, you know, full Fiendsmith, Snake Eyes, and all that, the deck did kind of start to decline down in value after a little bit of time, which was fine. But as of filming this, to build Triff's Ryzel first place list is $1,452.66. Now remember, prices do fluctuate as the days go on, but that's an extra $300 essentially on top of the deck for basically the Fiendsmith core itself, which is kind of crazy to be thinking about out here, because these engravers have been starting to head up in price. I think engravers are starting to hit like what, near $100 again, which is already insane in and of itself to be thinking about out here. That you've got that. We've also got to factor in, you know, the cost of Mulcharmies is going to be your other staple. So like this is like three subsections of things. The Ryzel base itself, kind of not necessarily the craziest amount of money, but that Fiendsmith package is where a majority of your extra money is going to come in. All right, like that's kind of crazy to think about, because 3 engravers, Lacrima, and 3 tracks are going back up to about 25. You're looking at about probably 350 plus on just a Fiendsmith package by itself. So think about that for a second. All right, and then of course, you know, you've got 6 Mulcharmies you now have to factor. With Fool Wars is hitting, you know, so over that $100 mark, and Pirelli is being, you know, almost 80s. So that's $500 in Mulcharmies in and itself. So those are your 3 major packages out here that you're looking at. Now, there's about a $350 difference between Pike's list and Triff's list, and you want to know what that is? It's literally the Fiendsmith cards. If you were to build just wanting the next best Ryzel list, you're looking at about $1,100. And, you know, like I said, you know what your cost is. It's that Fiendsmith package that's going to make all that difference out here. It's kind of crazy to think about. You know, the Charmies are making up that huge difference in price. Now, there is another list down here. We can look at Michael's top 4 list. It's $821. But you want to know what your key difference is on this list between the others? It's Perulia's. All right, you have a massive drop in Perulia value because, well, unfortunately, not every deck is going to want the Mulcharmies. Like, that's the thing right now. So between, like, the base, well, alone, like, your Ryzel core is not going to really hurt you too much. I think a Ryzel core, it's like 90, 180. I think it's like near 300 for a Ryzel core with 3 Eyes, 3 Sword, 3 EX, and then of course 2 Duo Drive, the 1 plug-in, all that little fun stuff in base rarity. And then of course, you know, for that deck to be $800, well, congratulations, the base core, $300, 3 Fool Wars at $330. The rest is just filled out with the generically cheap cards. Konami be like, hey, we've done you a favor. Hey, SP's cheap again. You don't have to worry about, you know, these expensive singular cards. No, we've done you a favor. Now you have to worry about the expensive engine pieces. You know, do you want to play Fiendsmith? Oh, there's $300. Do you want Charmies? Well, that's $500, $600 in staples right there. You know, do you want Ryzel? There's another $300. We have shifted from the expensive single cards era that shifted kind of into the deck core theme. I mean, Snake Eyes was a very splashable engine, but now that, you know, we've kind of taken care of OSS, things have shifted on around to, well, things are looking a little bit different. And also the funniest thing, the next Ryzel Fiendsmith list is $1,442.75. Literally a $10 difference in cards. A lot of these Ryzel lists I'm seeing are hitting the $1,000+ mark, which I'm telling y'all, It's crazy. Even looking at this voice list, it's listed at $691, and Memento's listed at $900. All right, even Malice is coming in at about $800. I see another Malice list at $585 with the Sky Striker stuff. Kashtira is about $970. So Yu-Gi-Oh's not cheap right now. There is no budget deck that, well, I can't even say Tenpai formerly was budget because, you still needed a couple of good staple cards, but Konami, I understand why people were fundamentally upset with this list. People are mad because they had a cheap deck. Even if Tenpai was a ignorant pile of unfun, at least people could have a deck that they could play. Even if it was like a $300 price point. No, Konami took that away from the player base, which a majority of the player base did kind of agree across the board. Like, getting sacked out of the game by Tenpai has been a very big, annoying problem as of late. I understand wanting to have a deck for players to play is fine, but that's what I think Konami said, hey, we're going to put down Tenpai. We know that you're going to be upset about this, but you've also got to understand that we have Blue Eyes coming here in the future. You've got to remember the big things that you're going to need with Blue Eyes. You do not need a Magia. I've shouted that out 100 times over. You're going to need some Primite cards, which you've had months to get Primite cards. All right. The real major things you're going to need are, 3 of the little Primite Dragon, which is probably going to be a secret rare. Go get your Lordly Loads so that you can have that package so that you can play the game. All right. And then 3 Blue Eye Structure decks. And you can basically play a pretty semi-confident deck, actually. For as much as I've played Blue Eyes here, let me grab this and verify that there's nothing stupid. Oh, some cross-out designators. That's not necessarily going to break the bank, I don't think. I don't think anybody's really going to complain too hard about that. And then, of course, oh no, Spirit Dragons, Typhon. Typhon's like $20. That's a staple at this point. I guess Dominus Purges are going to be an issue. I would not even... See, the thing with Purge right now is I think you definitely need the card. Yeah. Looking at my Blue Eyes list I have in my hand here, the most crazy thing you're going to need is Lordly Loads, Purges, and a Typhon, and 3 Blue Eye Structure decks. And technically a Crimson Dragon and a Stardust Cipher, but this is going to be your next affordable point to get into the game, if you want my honest opinion. Like, yeah, you're going to have to learn how to play Blue Eyes if you want it. If you're going to be one of those people, it's like, no, well, I want to play Chaos Dragon, I want to play Magia. You're literally playing an inherently worse version of the deck. So you got to remember, budget players, Lordly Loads, some Purges, and 3 Blue Eye Structure decks, and we can play the game. You 100% have something viable in front of you. It might not be I'm going to enjoy this. That's not what competitive play is about. Competitive play is being able to actually win. All right, and you can do so with that deck. Outside of that, the fact that this format is already projected to be more expensive than last is actually comically funny to me. Like, I thought that $1,000 meta was a really, really cringe price point. And I was like, once we get reprints going here, we'll start to see that value come down. Like, that's how it should work, right? Reprints and things should be doing their job. Now, somehow, it has managed to find itself up at a more expensive price point. And that honestly is funny. So, there is a chance to play the game. No, you don't need Magia. Stop it. Budget players, relax for a little bit. All right, Lordly Load is going to open up a lot of doors for ideas that you can play. But heading on into the next competitive season out here, I think Blue Eyes, at least the Primite build, actually is a pretty decent deck to play. Like, honestly, I've done a lot of playtesting with it. Or, you can just hold on and still play Tenpai. All right, I'm working on... I've got a list for Tenpai I got sent that I've been testing around with the last couple hours before I sat down to film this. And it's a lot of fun, actually. Who would have guessed? Tenpai being a little bit more fragile of a deck. Yeah, not necessarily, what you want to hear, but, some board breakers, some ultimate slayers in the main deck, and, you just got to do 8k damage to your opponent. Like, it's doable. Just got to put a big monster on the field. If your opponent makes the clap back on you, well, your opponent can't do anything during the battle phase because the big dragon anyway. But, we're trying some things out here. So please, Leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace.
Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.